Anyone who sends and receives email should be concerned about the investigation that toppled the CIA director, General David Petraeus. It's raising very serious concerns about privacy, and now we're learning new information about how it all unfolded. CNN's Brian Todd has been working this part of the story for us. And Brian, what are you finding out?
New details from sources, Wolf, on the path of this investigation. How investigators started with harassing emails from Paula Broadwell to Jill Kelly, traced them, and ended up finding correspondence involving America's top general in Afghanistan. Emails between Jill Kelly and Marine General John Allen were, according to sources, flirtatious. The sources did not provide details, but many of the emails may have been innocuous in nature, according to a U.S. official. That's still the subject of a Pentagon investigation. How did it get to that point after starting out as a complaint from Kelly about harassing emails from someone else? The FBI isn't commenting on its investigation. But CNN has new information from Tom Fuentes, a CNN contributor and former FBI assistant director who spoke to sources with knowledge of the probe. Fuentes says after Kelly complained to an FBI agent about the harassing emails, agents from the Bureau's cybercrime unit got a subpoena and got the internet service provider to give them information on who owned the account of the sender.
And what's the internet address that they are being transmitted by?
That likely would have been more than one internet address. News reports say Paula Broadwell, now known as the person who sent the harassing emails to Kelly, is believed to have sent them while she was traveling to various places. So depending on where her computer was plugged in at the time, the sender would have different IP addresses. Chris Sagoyan, an ACLU expert on law enforcement internet monitoring, explains what the FBI likely did next.
So what they did is they determined that she'd logged into this email account from hotels around the country. And so they contacted the hotels and got the guest lists, the names of people who were staying at the hotels on those various nights. And then they compared the lists of guests over a few nights at these different hotels and looked for common names. And I guess hers was the only one on that list.
Tom Fuentes says once they found Broadwell, agents got a search warrant from a U.S. federal judge to read the content of her emails.
During the course of that, they see a flood of other email to an anonymous from an anonymous person. So they get that person's record. That's where they identify that it's Director Petraeus on the other end of those emails with her.
Fuentes says in that process, the agents also would have gotten permission to read Jill Kelly's emails, and that led them to General Allen. Sagoyan says the FBI likely didn't violate privacy rules, but
our laws are just out of whack. With the reality of how we use technology today, the laws haven't been updated, and so the FBI is benefiting from these permissive, out-of-date laws.
Tom Fuentes says the FBI strictly adhered to all privacy guidelines. He says this investigation was overseen from the start by top FBI officials in the Bureau's Tampa office and by U.S. attorneys. Wolf.
But the U.S. government is doing more and more of this kind of shall we say, interference or eavesdropping or whatever?
It's incredible. They're doing more and more of it, and the volume is very surprising. The FBI, of course, got a subpoena and approached Google for the information about Paula Broadwell's email account. Now, according to Google and various news reports, that was one of 7,969 similar requests that Google received from the U.S. government just in the first half of 2012. Nearly 8,000 requests just to this one internet service provider, Google, from the U.S. government for similar information just in the first half of this year. And of course, Google's not the only IP provider. Other companies must have gotten similar requests too. That just tells you the volume of the information that the government sometimes goes after here.
Put it out there, it's going to, somebody potentially could be watching and listening and doing all that. Thanks very much. One of the key players in the General David Petraeus sex scandal is now telling her side of the story for the first time. We have new information that's coming up.